today's session. So we're just waiting a couple more seconds for the rest of the participants to stream in. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat box, or you can even unmute yourself and ask the question. So we'll be beginning in a few seconds. Just sit tight and we'll start soon. Just wanted to check if everybody can hear me. If you can hear me, maybe you drop a yes in the chat box, just to know that my mic is working well. Okay, seems like it's working fine. Okay, you guys can hear me. That's great. Yep. So okay, yeah, let's wait a couple more for everyone to join. Okay. Yeah, maybe I will just get started. So welcome again to today's session. So today's reseller roundtable is on the topic, should I set up an individual or professional selling account? So to those of you who are new to our roundtable series, the reseller roundtables are discussion-based sessions where our Amazon seller ambassadors, who are Amazon sellers just like yourself, actually share their tips and experiences selling on Amazon. And please note that seller ambassadors are in no way Amazon employees. They are actually just sharing their advice and best practices that they have gained throughout their selling journey. So before I actually jump into the roundtable session, I want to cover a bit on some of the high-level topics on what is a professional and individual selling account, and yeah, what are some of these differences to kind of give you an overview of what to expect in today's session. So there are two types of selling plans on Amazon. The first is the professional and the second is individual selling plan. So there are several differences between the professional and individual selling plan that we'll discuss today. But the key difference is that a professional selling account has a monthly subscription fee of USD $39.99, but it does not have a per item fee of 99 cents when an item sells. And a professional selling account also allows you access to advanced selling tools, APIs, and more selling reports. So to summarize the differences between a professional and individual selling account, if you have fewer than 40 sales per month or you have seasonal fluctuations in your sales, the individual selling account might be right for you. But a professional selling account might be right for you if you sell more than 40 items a month and you want access to selling tools or would like to apply for add-on programs like Amazon Business, Launchpad, Handmade, or even if you're an established e-commerce seller, because there are a lot more tools in the professional selling plan. And yeah, so maybe this is a key overview on the differences. And actually, you don't have to worry if you make the wrong choice, because you can switch to a different selling plan anytime throughout your seller journey. So it's quite an immediate process. So some things that you need to get started. The first is pass your account registration. You need a bank account or bank routing number. You need a chargeable credit card. You need a government issued national ID, tax information, and a phone number. So if you have not gotten started and you want to have a step-by-step registration guide, you can scan the QR code on the screen. So there are a couple of costs related to selling on Amazon, and we can actually break it into four main components. So number one is the selling plan, which we just covered. So it's either 99 cents per unit sale or $39.99 per month for the professional selling account. Number two, it's the referral fees. So Amazon charges a percentage fee on items sold. Amount varies across different categories, but generally falls within 8 to 15% of the total cost, which includes shipping costs and other charges. And you can find a more detailed breakdown by category in our website. The third is the fulfillment fees. So this is only applicable if you choose to sell your product using FBA, otherwise known as fulfillment by Amazon. And finally, it's all other costs. So this may incur additional fees depending on the situation and other optional programs which are designed to help increase your sales. And please note that when you register or set up your seller account, you will need to provide a credit card where we will charge you the fees and a bank account where we will deposit the sales proceeds. So some of the fees like the referral and fulfillment fees are automatically deducted from the sales proceeds. Yeah, so with that, actually, we can jump straight into today's discussion. So in today's panel, we have our account manager, Ethan, and we also have our seller ambassadors, Joseph, Philip, Casey, and Rui Hong. So now as we get started, can I first have the ambassadors give a brief introduction about yourself? Maybe we can start with Joseph.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joseph Zapanta. My company is Argon 40. We've been selling in Amazon since 2016.
Sorry, I realized I was on mute. Maybe next you can have Philip to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Philip. I've been selling on Amazon since 2018, so that's roughly about 4 years. My company is based in Singapore, and I started with Amazon FBA in US, and then now I'm focusing more on Singapore market.
Thanks, Philip. So can we have Casey introduce yourself next?
Hi, I'm Casey from Penang, Malaysia. I've started Amazon many years ago, and I am using the professional plan. Yeah.
Thanks, Casey. Okay, finally, can we have Rui Hong to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi everyone. I'm Rui Hong. I started in a team on Amazon with a few of my friends. I think I started somewhere between 2016 or so. I don't know. I remember when I started the Amazon Seller Ambassador Program, I said 5 years, but I don't know how many years has it been since then. The pandemic makes your timing go a bit.
That's true.
Yeah.
It feels like we are still, but it's already been like what, 2 to 3 years now already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been selling mostly in US market. I think that's a very lucrative market, and currently we're expanding out to South America, Europe as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Rui Hong, for your introduction. So now let's dive into the discussion questions for today's topic. So I think the first question is more for Ethan, who is our Amazon account manager. So what are some pros and cons of an individual and professional selling account? Because this is something that many new sellers actually ask.
Okay, so maybe Nat, you can go back to like the first few slides that the one with the comparison table. Yeah. The other one. Yeah, okay. So many of you will probably be unsure of whether professional or individual selling account is for you. So maybe I'll just briefly introduce like the pros and cons for individual first. So for individual selling plan, this is mainly for sellers who are not too sure whether you really want to fully commit to the Amazon platform, and you just want to test out and see whether this is for you. That's why if you sell less than 40 units, it's being charged like an per item fee. So you don't actually have to incur the full $39.90. But if you feel like you're going to sell more than 40 units, then definitely individual is not for you. And as you can see in the chart over here, actually the features that are for professional versus individual is actually very different. Individual definitely do get much lesser features. So which is why by default, we'll usually recommend sellers to go for the professional account. And I believe most of the seller ambassadors over here, they actually by default start with a professional account, because sometimes you may want to explore what are the tools that you can potentially use to help you scale your business. So it might be better for you to start with that first. So maybe I would just like to highlight a few key points of why the professional selling account may be for you. So one of the more important thing that I think probably is not being highlighted over here is the fact that, let's say if you wish to sell in a restricted category in the US, for instance, like toys category or food category, you'll need to submit additional documents to get approval. So in order to have access to the selling application tool, you'll need to have a professional selling account. So let's say if you're keen to sell in the restricted category, maybe I can share the link in the chat in a bit. So do check whether the product you intend to sell is within that. If yes, you'll need to start with a professional selling account. Okay, and next, also, as you can see in the table over there, you have much more reporting tools, for instance, like inventory or even order report. So in this way, you'll be able to know, how are you selling, what is the return rate, and etc. So all this actually help you to optimize your inventory planning and help you to scale out your business even quicker with more data insights. And also, thirdly, I would like to highlight the fact that with a professional account, you have eligibility to the buy box. So what is the buy box? Basically, when you actually go to an Amazon listing, if there's a buy now button, it actually allows people to directly buy from the listing, and it kind of like gives you more visibility and helps to increase your conversion rate. And lastly, something that I want to highlight also, because my team here that is based in Singapore, we do have a team of account managers. So if you want to be managed by us and wish to gain support to help you scale up your business faster on, let's say, Amazon.com, if you wish to get account management support, basically, you need to have a professional selling account. So in essence, I think these are like the 4 key things that I want to highlight for a professional selling account. And regarding the restricted category, let me send the link in the chat below. Yeah.
Ethan.
Yeah.
Can individual account use FBA service?
For individual account, I think they should be able to use the FBA service, but actually, yeah, it's not very effective if you use the FBA service and you don't have access to all your order reports. Yeah, by default, usually people just go for the professional account, actually. Yeah, if they are intending to use FBA. Yeah, because of all the reports, they'll be able to have to evaluate whether like the outcome of like their FBA adoption.
I think I vaguely remember I switched over to professional because they offered more storage space.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is also partially true. And also, if you switch over to professional selling account, you're having issues with your inventory limit, you can actually reach out to account managers to help you escalate your case internally as well. So it's just all the support and features that you'll be able to get, which make professional selling account like much better to start with. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ethan kind of summarizes the pros and cons of individual and professional selling account, and especially if you're scaling up and selling more than 40 units a month, actually it's more cost effective to have the professional selling account. Unless you're really, just really testing, you're not sure whether you want to commit, then you might want to start with an individual account. So the next question is for the seller ambassadors. I think some of you, like Casey, shared that you started with a professional account, or maybe Rui Hong, you started with an individual selling account. So maybe just asking the seller ambassadors, did you guys start off with an individual or professional selling account first? And also like why and how do you decide between these two?
So actually I can start. I started off with individual selling account to actually check out like what exactly it's like to create your listing, prepare for it first. So I didn't start immediately because it takes time for your goods to reach there as well, US. So when creating listing, preparing for the launch, I did all those in individual seller account. Then when it was about to reach there, then I switched over and saved some money. The thing is, when we evaluated the different plans, I think one of the things people should think about is on what's kind of like your average price that you're selling your products. Because they charge a fixed cost, right? Like 0.99.
Yep.
If your product is, I don't know, like $10, it takes 0.99. That's 10% of your margin already. So it's quite scary. So I guess that's one of the things that you have to consider. Like, do you think that your product is going to sell at high volume, low cost, low price, or is it going to be like super high price, but low volume? If you're selling at super high price, that 0.99 probably means nothing to you. But for my case, it didn't really make sense for us to pay that 0.99 per product. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Rui Hong also brought up a good point on like having to check your selling price. So if you have a high selling price, yeah, maybe 99 cents really doesn't matter much to you. But if you are, your product is something that is a fast moving good, and you really want to go for like a low cost strategy, but selling more higher volumes, then maybe a professional selling account will be better for you. Because if your product is selling too low, then 99 cents might be eating up most of your profit margins. And also, like what Rui Hong mentioned, you can easily switch from a professional and individual selling account or individual to professional like instantly. So that's something to take note of. What about the other seller ambassadors?
For me, when I started was a professional account. I didn't go Rui Hong's path because first I used that $39.90 to motivate me to get my listing up faster. And the other reason was I was worried that if I use an individual account and I send my products in and I cannot use any advertising features like coupons or PPC, then I will be stuck with all my inventory there and I will not be able to clear it until I upgrade to a professional account. So, but right from the start, I already set my mind to go and do it as a company, as a business itself, rather than an individual.
Right. Yeah, same as me. When I started, I should have started with professional. The main reason, I think the main thing is that I don't think I would accept that as a business I'm selling less than 40 units a month, right? Definitely more than that. So I should have opt for the professional. And also another thing is the professional will allow you to have this the API things, which means you can connect to many other software that help you to make your work more efficient.
Yeah, actually, one of the questions, since you brought up Amazon APIs, we also wanted to ask this question in today's topic. So, like what Casey mentioned, with the professional selling account, you have access to other API functions. So, actually, what are some of these API functions that you guys actually use that has been very good for your business to scale up, or help you to automate and also offload some of these things that you need to do to the API functions?
Okay, for me, you see, from the, if you look back to the comparison, one of them is you can have multiple users to your account.
Yep.
Okay, that is important for me because I have my staff or other services that need to log into the account to check on the report and also to get the reimbursement that I supposed to get it back from the Amazon. So all these I'll need the access to this multiple user. Okay, and also for the API integration, for example, you have a software that need to forecast your sales or forecast your inventory restock. All this, you will need the API integration as well.
What about the seller ambassadors? Other seller ambassadors, do you guys use APIs as well?
I don't specifically use it, but I know my accountant uses it to pull all the reports out from my Seller Central account. So in the end, I don't really have to pull out any report for them. They will just do it automatically because I think they use some external software like what Casey mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, and also you will need to create a specific user for them, like for other your partners or the third party software, so that you can have you only granted specific access to that particular users. For example, the Philip case, I think he only need access to the inventory and the price and the sales, the order, things like that. So we need to adjust their authorization to which function they can access.
Yeah, I think Casey and Philip brought up a good point. So another feature of the professional selling account is that it allows you to grant access or user permissions and very specific access rights to other users. So since we're on this topic, maybe the rest of the team can share, or the rest of the ambassadors can share how you use to grant access. For example, maybe Rui Hong, because you are working in a team, you have different people accessing the account. Do you guys have like different access granted to other people? or maybe if you're working with another service provider and you grant access to them, like Philip's case.
Yeah, I can go for one. So very bad security. We actually share the account and password via password account manager. I'm not sure if yeah, I'll just say what I use. We use this software called LastPass, where we share passwords across the team. That's for within the team. So we don't use that. We don't use the user access on Amazon. But we do have a virtual assistant, VA, that's sitting in Philippines and Indonesia. So for them, we actually created a separate account where they can read and help us with support messages. Yeah, so that's one way that I use this access management feature. Yeah, but not within the team.
Yeah, maybe you should consider to make your account more secure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What about Joseph? Anything from your end? Because I understand your company is quite big. Do you guys also use APIs or even like grant user access to other external people who are helping you support your business?
But before I go to that part, I would just like to add in terms of the purpose of the individual account. Definitely in terms of features, the professional account is really a better you get better access, you get better features. But I think for a lot of new sellers, the individual account is still useful. Because I was trying to remember when we started the account. I think when we started the business, we really are already decided on doing it in Amazon. But like back then, we really don't know a lot of the members of the team are still not that familiar with the terminal. And looking back, I think it was also very helpful for us we started with an individual account when we were setting it up, just to get the team acquainted with the features of how do I set up a listing, where do I view the inventory. A lot of the basic features are still open when you open an individual account. And I think it's still very helpful for a lot of new sellers to start. And as Ryu Hong has said, you can start out free. $30, $40 is not a big amount, but still you still save up if you're like you need a month or two to basically understand the system. In terms of using APIs, we do use the API, but it's more of we grant access to, because we use several softwares like Celix, Feedback Wiz, all these third-party software. Then you need to provide them with your API. So we do find the APIs very helpful too. But on personal use, because we don't develop our own software for the Amazon system, we don't use it really internally. It's more being used by the third-party software that we're actually using.
Yeah. Maybe you guys can share some of the useful third-party software. So I hear you use Selfix. Was it Selfix? I cannot recall.
We use Celix for report generation, but I think lately a lot of changes have happened in the Amazon reporting. That even though you don't use third-party software, I think the current reports are quite robust. So if you're starting out new, and you get familiar with the new terminal of Amazon, I think it's fairly enough at the moment. I think once you grow to a certain number, then maybe third-party software becomes more relevant. But yeah, and I think it's also a case-to-case basis, depending on where you want to focus. For instance, do you want to focus on your customer service, or do you want to focus on your PPC campaign? So yeah, so it's really more of a case-specific requirement, I would say. Because we never used third-party software until I think on our fourth or fifth year.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just lately that I think it has become more relevant. But when we were starting, it was less, or maybe it was less competitive back then. But yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Joseph. I think to sum up what Joseph just shared, so in terms of choosing between individual or professional, especially when you're just starting out, maybe you need a few more months to familiarize yourself with how Seller Central works. Seller Central is the platform that you release your products, run your ads, and manage your entire Amazon business. So maybe if you just need a few months to test around, get acquainted with the different tools, different tabs and pages within Seller Central, you might want to start with an individual selling account. And in terms of APIs, some of the APIs that the seller ambassadors use can be like accounting, customer service, your advertising, Amazon advertising, and also maybe like some on cash flow management, which kind of ties back to your accounting as well. And if you're just starting out, you might want to start off doing it by yourself, just within Seller Central. But as you scale your business and you need more support to help you offload some of this work to third party, then you can use APIs. So it really depends on how fast you want to ramp up your business and what are your priorities. Yeah. So I think with that, we can move to the next question. So the next question is on the featured offer, or previously known as the Amazon Buy Box. I think Ethan previously shared briefly what the Buy Box is. So maybe from Seller Ambassadors, could you guys share like what is featured offer / Buy Box, and why is it important, or how do you guys go about being in the Buy Box? Is that something you guys also try to aim for?
I think buy box only matters if you're selling a list on a listing that is a common listing.
Yes.
Am I right? Because if you're listing a product that's your own listing and it's a unique product, then I think automatically you get the buy box if you get searched. So I think it just gets relevant being have that buy box thing if you're selling an item like a common item that's there are several sellers selling it.
Yeah. So maybe, yes, you're right. Actually, Ethan can also share more. So if you are selling an item that is you don't have a brand registry, you don't have a trademark, and you are sharing the listing with many other different sellers, so you're selling a common product like what Joseph said. So in that case, having the buy box, which is also known as featured offer, might be very important for you.
Yes, and I understand you get cycled within the buy box. If you're like 5 sellers and you're selling the same item and you're basically priced the same, then Amazon has this algorithm that you get cycled around within the day, within that for that buy box button.
Maybe also just to add on a little more, basically the professional selling account just gives you the eligibility to get a buy box, but it doesn't guarantee you that you'll definitely get a buy box. So there are many other factors that goes into consideration of whether you'll get a buy box or not. So it might be your sales history, it might be your pricing, or it might be whether you're the brand owner as well. So just take note that even though you're a professional selling account, it doesn't guarantee you that you will definitely get a buy box if you are sharing the listing with other people.
An individual account can never get into buy box?
Yes, individual account don't even have the eligibility for buy box.
Okay, then I think for all the sellers that are selling the common item, which is the item that there are other sellers, okay, then I think professional plan is the only choice because in order to get the item sell, you must get into the buy box.
That's an important point because if you're sharing a listing, there might be, depending on how competitive that product listing is, there might be many other different sellers. And another way, if you want like guaranteed buy box, is of course to have your own listing. So that's where you need to have register your brand, enroll into a brand registry, and have your own trademark. So that allows you to have your own listing and not allow other sellers to actually share the listing with you. So hope that is kind of clear. Yeah.
And just want to add, I think it's better if you try to have your own listing. It's usually really hard to fight off like other competitors on the same listing. You don't have a differentiator, right?
Yeah. Maybe you can share, have you ever like shared a listing? How do you guys go around it? And was that a reason why you guys decided to trademark, have your own brand? Yeah, it sounds like you had some experience on that.
Oh, I guess it's a bad experience. I'll just say like yeah, just briefly, we started off selling our products by creating a listing of our own. The reason why we did so was because if you look at the Amazon space, right, there are gonna be big sellers that go in. They have margins, they can undercut you. It's harder to survive and be profitable in that space. So I assume for most of the sellers here as well, usually when we go into a particular market, we try to go in with a more unique product, some differentiators to at least show that buyers on Amazon that our product is different and it's better than all these generic products out there. That way you can charge a better price, and that way you have better control over the listing as well. So that's how we started off. We started a few good listings. We had good results. Then once you have good results, you realize people want to share your results, so they come and sell on your listing as well. That was when we realized that, hey, there was actually a potential for people who are also sharing your listing to destroy your listing. If they sell like counterfeit, or if they sell like low quality products, the reviews all come onto the same listing, right? That's when, yeah, we did brand registry, we did the trademark, and then we make sure that we have, it's become something like I would say like a virtual asset, the listing that we manage ourselves right now. Yeah, so it's super important to keep that within your control. Yeah.
Yeah. So since we're talking a bit about brand registry and trademarks, maybe can we get Ethan to share more about what brand registry is, because this might be a term that's unfamiliar to the new sellers who might be attending today's session.
Yeah, maybe just to give a quick summary of what brand registry is. So basically, this is a program that's launched by Amazon in 2017 that serves to protect brand owners. So what I mean by brand owners is, if you have a trademark that is, it can be registered with any trademark officers around the world that is considered eligible by Amazon. I can share the link with you guys as well. So for instance, if you have a Singapore trademark, you can also enroll into Amazon brand registry to receive brand building features. So in order to get your brand protected in Amazon in the respective country, for instance, Amazon.com, you'll need the trademark in the country of sale. So for instance, if you want to get protected on Amazon.com, you want to report counterfeits, you need to have a USPTO trademark. So this is something that you guys will need to consider in the long run if you wish to scale your business and you wish to protect your sales volume, wish to prevent counterfeits. And yeah, there are a lot of programs such as automated brand protection and Project Zero Transparency that serves to help you protect your brands. So this is something that you guys might want to consider when you want to kickstart your business on Amazon. Yeah.
So I think just to quickly summarize what Ethan mentioned. So if you just want access to brand building tools, as long as you have a trademark in any country, you can have access to Amazon brand building tools. So even if you have a Singapore trademark, you can apply for, you can have brand building tools for Amazon in the US, for Amazon.com. But if you want protection in the specific country, then you need a trademark in that specific country. Just to summarize that. Okay, so actually I think we can move on to the next topic, which is also something that got brought up briefly just now, which is on how you manage inventory via seller-centric reporting features or externally. So the question is to the seller ambassadors, how do you guys actually manage your inventory? Do you guys use spreadsheets? the reports via Seller Central, or do you have some external way or external software or tools to manage your inventory and manage your sales performance in Seller Central?
For me, I use directly into Seller Central, so I will extract the information from there. And the cool thing that I like about having a professional account is that the business report tab on the web page that on the Seller Central, you're able to see the sales and the traffic statistic all in one page. And the UI is actually quite nice also. And you're able to even drill down per ASIN. So if you need a quick lookout, you can easily do that via these features. But for inventory purposes, it's mainly through Seller Central. So it'll be much easier for me. I mean, like for me, because my SKU is not so big, but I'm able to quickly sort the information from Seller Central itself. Those who are active, not active, those that I need to replenish or not. I find it much easier because I'm not using any software, external software to connect to my Seller Central at this moment on inventory. Yeah.
Thanks, Philip, for sharing. So you use directly on the Seller Central reporting features. So in Seller Central, you can actually access business reports. And like what Philip mentioned, he looks at the ASIN level. So ASIN is actually Amazon's terminology for your product SKUs, if there's a lack of better term to call it. So it's like your individual product SKU in Amazon's term of calling it. Yeah. So is there anything else you take note of when you look at your business reports to see whether you're doing well or not, apart from like on ASIN level? How do you
also look at the return rate, if there's any return, especially the reports? So I will extract those and look at this. I think it's very important to understand why customers are returning your products. Whether is it because it's faulty, or is it like they used it before and they don't like it, and so on. Yeah. So this is the other tools that I use for reporting.
Anything else from the seller ambassadors that you look for? How do you do your reporting? What tools you use? You also use the Seller Central reporting, or you use something else externally?
For me, I'm using a tool called Inventory Planner. Okay, the website is inventoryplanner.com. Okay, the reason I use it is mainly for the forecast on the replenishment, because and also this software support Japan market. Previously, I was using another tool, okay, but that tool only support the Europe and the US, but then this software allowed me support the Japan. And because I'm selling Japan as well, so I changed to using these tools. Okay, and these two come with a few important features. One of them is restock. Okay, it has an algorithm to tell me how much I need to restock, and then I can do some configuration that saying, yeah, this item, if I ship to, for example, if I ship to Japan, I'll need 30 days. Okay, then I can configure it so that it will tells me when should I restock and how many units should I restock. And at the same time, it's all in one screen. It also tells me my 7 days sales, how many units, 30 days, 360 days, and what's profit margin, what's return percentage, all these things lah. So basically in one screen, so every day I log into this website and I look at the screen, then I'll process with my restock and see if any pricing I need to change, if anything that I need to take note.
Wow, yeah, sounds quite comprehensive. What about the other seller ambassadors, Rui Hong or Joseph?
Yeah. So when you talk about reports, right? Actually, on my side, when I try to calculate like inventory forecast, etc., I use this Amazon sales reports very comprehensively, I guess, because when you start to have kind of like a run rate business, then it's all about like planning your supply chain and your inventory.
Yep.
Yeah, the most accurate details that you get is via the Amazon report. So I'll download there, see what's like the orders each month, etc. Then we plan accordingly. So that's where we get most of the information. Then of course there's like when you're trying to figure out like your profitability, each product, how much you're spending on ads, blah blah blah. You definitely need reports for those. Yeah. Then I think one last thing that I usually look at is under business reports. It's actually your conversion rate. So per item, you can actually monitor your conversion rate. I think that actually is one of the key indicator of whether you rank for a keyword or not. So yeah, that's something that we monitor quite closely.
So what are some, if you see that your conversion rate is maybe quite low for a certain product in a particular month, so what are some of the actions that you take to increase the conversion rate?
I think first thing is go and read your product reviews. See what people are saying about your product. Then I think like what was mentioned earlier, check why people are returning your product. Check customer feedback. It could be seller feedback. Yeah, then from there you'll kind of try to get a clue of whether there's something wrong with your product. There are two things, I guess. First one is if your listing has like low reviews, blah blah blah, then naturally conversion will be bad. The other one is whether you're offering the right thing for your customers. It's easier to optimize the first part, the conversion part, which is like maybe you make your picture more like bright, attractive, or differentiates from like the other competitors. That might work, yeah. But you have to do the second part as well, so that you make sure that the reviews you get, if your product can do return customers, then they would actually come back and buy more.
Yeah, I think two good points. One is you can improve your product listing, which includes your product images. Might be good to actually have a proper product photo shoot instead of taking pictures of the original supplier images. So that is not that's something you might want to consider as a first step. And secondly, if your product looks good, it also has to be really good. So if you need to make changes to the actual product and like optimize and improve the product features, then you can work on the product itself. Yeah, and actually I have one question that I think the new sellers will ask. So if you're a new seller and you don't have any reviews, how do you actually try to build and get reviews and get sales? I think this is a tough question to answer. Maybe you guys can recall back to when you first made your first sale. How did that happen? Yeah.
Everybody asks this question. Yeah. I think I'll just answer quickly. Now, I think Amazon made it quite easy right now because it's no longer reviews, it's called ratings. It includes both immediate ratings and when people type like comments about your product. So when you start off, you should always try to get your first few reviews through, I think there's a Vine program. I'm not sure if early reviewer programs still exist, but okay, Vine program, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Vine program can help you get some initial reviews. Then after that, when you start selling like sales, when you run ads, etc., you can get some reviews over there. Then when you launch a new listing, I think Amazon will give you an initial boost, etc., to like test whether your product can do well or not. So those are like your opportunities to get reviews ratings. I think with the new system now, I don't have that much problems to get like the first few reviews anymore.
Yeah. Thanks, Rui Hong, for sharing. Yeah, this is a very common question for new sellers. Maybe I can get Ethan to drop the link to Amazon Vine program so you guys can read more about how to get your first few reviews, because yes, it's definitely very important to get reviews for people to even want to test and try your product. So yeah, I think we covered a lot on the business reports and what are the different ways to forecast and manage your orders and inventory. So actually, now that we have 15 minutes left to this session, I want to take this time to answer some questions that were submitted to us before the session. I think these questions are mostly for our account manager, Ethan. So it's really on the registration process, because I see that some of the registered attendees have many questions about the registration process. So maybe Ethan, could you share, actually before that, maybe the seller ambassadors or Ethan can share more about when you register for individual selling account, is it easy to convert to professional, and how do you actually go about converting from individual to professional?
I think there's a button there. You just click and pay. That's it.
Actually, so the right steps to do it is you log into Seller Central. So on the top right corner, you'll be able to select account info. So when you select account info, there will be a section for your services. Then you'll be able to click into your selling plan and select upgrade. So it's fairly easy. Or if you don't want to follow the steps, there's a search bar in Seller Central. You can just type in upgrade selling plan, and it will just appear for you to upgrade. Yeah.
Yes, so it is pretty straightforward, like what Casey and Ethan mentioned. You just need to click upgrade. So the next question is from our sellers, from our attendees, is what's the difference between vendor central and seller central? Yes, one of the common questions people ask.
Yeah. Okay, so
give me a second.
Yeah, okay. So maybe I can just quickly clarify this. So basically, Vendor Central is like a platform for like the first party sellers, where Amazon actually kind of like buy your goods and help you do the listing. So this is like a platform where you have limited access to how you want to update your listing and change, like basically lesser flexibility to amend your product listing page, because Amazon tend to have like greater control because of the business model, whereas Seller Central is for third-party sellers, like all the seller ambassadors over here and potential sellers like yourself. So this gives you access to more tools, for instance, like manage inventory. You can create your own listing, you can run advertising, you can run coupons, and etc. So it's a more flexible channel for you to own and edit and your business and get reports for it. Yeah, so it's completely different platform based on like the business model. You kind of like engage with Amazon. And one thing to note is that Vendor Central, or the first party model, is by invite only. Yeah, so generally the third party model, which is Seller Central, will be applicable for all of you over here.
So Vendor Central is like what Ethan mentioned, by invite only, and it tends to be the bigger merchants. So like your bigger chains, like your grocery chains, etc., who treats Amazon as just one of the outlets or retail channel for them. Yeah, so it's not applicable to most of the sellers in this session. Yeah, just to make the difference. So the next question is what are some things to note to ensure I pass the account registration process? Maybe let.
Hello.
Okay, hi. Let me just share my screen to show some of the things you guys have to take note of. Can you see? Okay, so when you register for an account with Amazon, typically we'll get you to prepare like a bank account number, a chargeable credit card, a government issued national ID, which can be your NRIC, or it can be your passport or driver's license. But typically we will advise sellers like yourself to submit passport. You need to prepare tax information, phone number. So when you do the registration, that you'll need to submit additional documents at the registration stage, which is typically your bank statement as well as your personal documents. So these are some of the key things that you have to take note of. And these are some of the things that we find that are missing from seller's document when they submit and actually got rejected. So just make sure that your documents are all in color, it's high quality, your passport has your signature, it's in supported languages, this is really important because if it's not within the supported languages, you actually have to get, for instance, your bank statement or your documents notarized in order to, before you get submitted. And your documents must be issued within the past 180 days. It shouldn't be expired. The point of contact should match exactly. So these are the common mistakes that sellers typically make and do not pass the registration stage. And there's a guide at the bottom right side of the screen. You can actually scan it to look at the step-by-step registration guide. So there's like screenshots of each of the landing page that you experience and some of the key things that you have to take note of. So if you're afraid of getting rejected, just look at that and do it step by step before you get yourself registered. Yeah. If some of you are actually still facing registration issue after you follow everything, don't worry, I'll share with you a Qualtrics form where you can submit your documents as well as all the relevant details, and our team will assist to help you get your documents and your registration approved. Yeah, let me share that in the chat box.
Okay, so while Ethan is sharing the contact us form for people who are facing registration issues to submit their issue in, let me ask the last question. So the last question for Ethan is also when registering for a selling account, this particular seller face identity verification issues saying that they have multiple accounts even though they don't recall having so. So how can they actually resolve this issue?
Okay, so this related account issue is quite common. So basically, let me just go through the multiple selling account policy on Amazon. I can share the help page for that in a bit. So basically, for all sellers, you are only allowed to have one seller central account for each region you wish to sell in, unless you have legitimate business justification. So there are only 3 types of legitimate business justification. So firstly, you must either own multiple brands and have maintained separate business entity for each, or you manufacture products for 2 distinct and separate companies, or you have been recruited for an Amazon program that requires separate account. So basically, in summary, it's either you have 2 different business entity that requires 2 different selling account, or you have been recruited for an Amazon program. So if not, do not try to register for another account, especially like one of the common mistake is you register for this account and it got suspended, then okay, never mind. Then I'll just create another new email address to go and register for another account. You shouldn't do that because there are many ways where Amazon can actually detect that both accounts are related. It can be through like your bank statement. It can be via even your IP address where you log in your Seller Central account from. So try not to register for both accounts. If you are facing registration issue, just reach out to us and we'll help you resolve. So for those who are currently facing related account issue, what you need to do is you need to reinstate the original account. That means the first account that you have created. So you have to get that reactivated and you close that account before you can reinstate your second account. So don't worry, if you're facing this issue, I will drop down the email address in the chat box as well. Just email in to us with the relevant documents and we'll assist to help you reinstate your account and share with you the steps forward. Yeah.
So maybe Ethan, you want to quickly share why sellers should not create multiple accounts. So why is this an issue?
Yeah, okay. So basically the reason why you shouldn't create a multiple account because for no reasons, that means not within the 3 justification that I just mentioned, is because Amazon will actually detect your account as a like potential bad actor or related account, because there are many sellers in the past that actually create multiple accounts to run bad activities, kind of like to ruin maybe other people's listing pages. So by right, one person should only have one account, and one business entity should only have one account. So if you have 2 accounts, like I mentioned, they can have like either same deposit account details, they can have like maybe same address, they can be logged in from the same IP address. There are many other reasons which myself, I don't even know because they don't typically share that with us. So there are many reasons how Amazon can actually identify you as a related account. So just try not to create 2 accounts unless you have legitimate reasons for it. Yeah.
So to summarize, actually, the reason why related accounts are not permitted is because it's to protect sellers from bad actors, because there's a lot of bad actors who create multiple accounts to hijack into different sellers' listings and as well as to sell their seller account. So these are reasons why multiple selling accounts are not allowed. So yeah. Before we kind of wrap up this session, want to ask the seller ambassadors, generally what are some do's and don'ts for new sellers, coming from an experienced seller point of view, would you advise like other sellers? Yeah, some last advice tips to those who are attending today's session.
I guess if you're interested, if you're serious about doing a very good Amazon business and for the long term, I think just sign up for the professional account and just get going, and you don't need to look back afterwards.
Thanks, Philip. Any other tips, advice from the seller investors? Can be anything at all for new sellers. Yeah, doesn't have to be related or can be related to today's topic.
Maybe for me, I guess just start. Don't think too much. If not, you'll never start.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with you, Wong, and just try to. I mean, it's okay to make mistakes. It happens to everyone.
Yeah, mistake that doesn't get your account suspended.
But even if you get suspended, you can
Even if
reach
you
out
get
to-
suspended, you can still fix it. I think
Yes.
advanced world. Just don't do bad. I mean, outside of the policies of Amazon, I think you'll do fine.
Yep. Yeah. So
For me, my advice is that if you're already done well in local market, okay, you can always try to explore to
Yes.
Amazon because it's one of the biggest market in the world that waiting for you to explore. Although it's not, if I compare today's effort compared to 5 years or 10 years ago, that when I started Amazon, today is harder because there are more sellers and it's more competitive and the rule is stricter as well. Okay, but it is still a biggest market there. So if you already do well in local market, and yes, it's always good to try Amazon.
yeah, I think that's sorry, can you guys hear me, the ambassadors?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was just afraid my mic. So yeah, I think that's very good advice. So if you're a new seller, you can start off in the domestic market, or even if you want to start off internationally, that's also fine. There are many global stores that you can sell, like what the seller investors shared. Most of them are selling in the US because that's where Amazon has a presence, established presence in. And then, you can eventually expand into other Amazon stores around the world, like Europe, Japan, Singapore, Australia. You can easily expand through Seller Central, sell globally, and also not to think too much because just get started. If you overthink things, then you might really never get started. And also one good place to start off if you're really not sure how do I even start. So you can visit Seller University, because in Seller University there are many step-by-step guides, videos on how to even get started. So Seller University can be accessed via YouTube. So if you don't have a Seller Central account yet, you can go to YouTube, search Seller University, Amazon Seller University, and you can access a lot of videos. Or if you have a Seller Central account, it's actually one of the tabs in your Seller Central account. You can access the different videos and guides as well. So I think with that, we have hit 4 o'clock. So thanks a lot to the seller ambassadors for today's session. Thank you, our account manager Ethan, for your participation. And just to close off today's session, please let us know your feedback on how you feel about today's session. If you have any discussion topics that you want next, or even additional activities, something else, if you have a different preferred format other than a roundtable, you can submit it in the QR code on the screen. And also, if you want to continue the conversation, interact with other sellers in the community, you can join the Facebook group. This Facebook group was started by the seller ambassadors, so you can just scan the QR code on the screen. So with that, thank you everyone, and see you in our next roundtable session. Bye everyone.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.